Okay, so now we're in 4.2, where we're going to be talking about modifiers for Java. So let's get into it. 4.2, modifiers for Java. Let's get into the curriculum. 4.2.1, access modifiers. For fields and classes, the access level determines who can get or set the value of the field. Remember that word get and set, because we're going to talk about in the next section about encapsulations. For methods, the access level determines who can call the method. The access level of a class member is determined by an access modifier. We've encountered access modifiers. So in our code, in our example, you frequently see the keyword public. Public makes the field or method to be accessible by anyone working with our code. Another common access modifier is private, which restricts access to fields or methods so they can only be used within the class. Two additional access modifiers are available in Java, though they are used much less often than public and private. Here's an example here. Let's take another look at our Hello World class. So I'm over in IntelliJ, I have the Hello World class open, but with one small change. What is that small change? Well, here in this small change, instead of on the method we have public, we just have void. So if I deleted that public, it'll be void. And let's explain what that means. In this Hello World class, we omit the public access modifier in lines 3 and 5. Doing this explicitly gives the message field and the say hello method default access. Default access. We're going to explain to you what that means. So here, we should avoid giving everything default access when creating classes in Java, instead of thinking carefully about what level of access each field and method should have. Now, basically, that's a lazy approach when you make everything default. We want to make things more precise. Like sometimes you may not need a double. You may need it just an int for whatever you're creating. Well, sometimes people just give doubles for every single thing. Well, when you're a software developer, you want to think the whole process through. That's why I always say you should always know what the output is before you hit enter to see the output. You are creating software to fit your output. That's why we use the TDD approach, test-driven development, writing the test first, saying that this is what I expect the outcome to be, and then we go and write the methods or the functions. Here, the table below details whether or not information can be accessed at different levels based on the access modifier. For example, a field with the private access modifier can be accessed within the class, but cannot be accessed outside the class at the world level. In Java, world level is the level of the whole application and contains all of the packages and classes. While we will discuss later how to decide which access modifiers to use for different scenarios, you should save this table now as a reference for those conversations. So here's your table right here. Is information accessible at certain levels with certain access modifiers? We have public. Public is accepted on class, package, and the world. Protected is accepted just on the class and the package, but not the world. And then we have no modifier or package private or default. When we set it as default, it automatically has access to classes and packages, but not the world. But private only have access through the class. Note, If you would like to learn more about access modifiers, you should check out the Oracle documentation on the subject. Okay, like I said, once you get through this chapter, come back to this section and then go through that documentation. It is going to be beneficial for you to learn how to not only read the documentation, but to know what's there. And because Oracle maintains Java, they're going to be exhaustive in their information. Our information is just high level of the information that the original documentation has. Okay, let's take a look at our Hello World class again, and let's add some access modifiers. Here now, instead of making my string public up here, my object, my high level object public, let's make it private. And you see it gives me a hint. I can click that. So now it's private. And so that means it's only going to have access to inside my class. Okay, so it's giving me an error, unexpected token. What did I add here? Because I forgot. I don't have the string. And let me make that a capital S, a string object. There we go. So that's what that error meant, unexpected token. So now, since I did that, it says since message only needs to be used by say hello, we declare it to be private. Since we want say hello to be usable by anybody else, we could declare it public. So here, our method is declared public with the public keyword. So now if I go over to say hello and I run this, this should still work. Let's see what happens. There we go. It prints out hello or hello world. Note, in Java, you should always use the most restrictive access modifiers possible. Minimizing access to class members allows code to be refactored more easily in the future and hides details of how you implement your classes from others. This makes your code more modular and modifiable. Each public member that you expose is another field or property that can be referenced directly elsewhere in any program using your class. Thus, changing any such field in your code could potentially break any code referencing such members. The fewer public members, the more you can change your code without breaking stuff elsewhere. Note, if you want to learn more about controlling access to members of a class, check out this information from Oracle. And now we made it to the end of this section. We want to check your understanding. Now, we're getting ready to go into the next section, and we're going to go a little bit more deeper. As again, play around with the code. After you get through the chapter, come back and take your time. So when you get to the exercises, you'll know how to find the information. And it's key to go through the original documentation and go back and review a little bit, because as you notice, as we get more and more into exercises, the less information we give you. So we made it to the end of this section. And remember, the more you practice, the more you improve. See you in the next video.